I'm sure all of you lead guitar fans are gonna love the next videos. I'm gonna do the KH-2 neck through body in my next video, but for this one I got something even cooler. Check this out. It's a guitar that I've wanted to try for over a decade, the KH-2 Vintage Distressed. This thing is crazy good looking in person. For this video I'm gonna concentrate mainly on the vintage, and for my next video I'm gonna do a bit of a comparison between these two guitars, even though they're not in the same tuning. I can tell you they're not exactly the same guitar, but for now let's go with this one, the Caution Hot. I've been a Metallica fan ever since I was a kid. I mean, I seen them on MTV, I know the songs, but think about it. How long have you been a conscious Metallica fan? Not only knowing Master of Puppets and a couple of other songs, but naming all the guys: James Hetfield, Kirk Hammett, Jason Newsted. Oh my god, I almost forgot about Lars. If I have to be honest, I've been a conscious Metallica fan since 2010. Like most Metallica fans, the first impression that I got from them was Kirk Hammett, of course, the lead guitar player. Eventually, I've became a huge James Hetfield fan, and I had a lot of his guitars, you've seen the videos. As a short-lived fan of Kirk Hammett, this was the guitar that I associate with him the most. If you're an old school guy and you know Metallica ever since the 80s, you probably know Kirk with his Flying V's and other guitars, but for me, the KH-2 Relic with the Caution Hot sticker is the guitar that stands out the most. Of course, now, almost a decade later, I've seen Kirk with the Greenie and all sorts of other guitars, and I no longer associate him with only this one. But if I have to be honest, out of all of his signature guitars, the cool stuff, the Ouija, the graphic guitars, I think this one is the one that I would have. Maybe it's just me, but I'm just a huge fan of their 90s and early 2000s period. I just love load and reload. Back in 2017, I had the chance to get a KH-2, but I got the standard version with the bolt-on neck. It was a great guitar, but I had no idea how good the vintage is. And believe me when I say, this is an amazing guitar. It is crazy good. And there's a good reason for that. For a long time I was bashing the Kisu Custom Shop for their relic guitars, especially for the Iron Cross that they did for James Hetfield. I thought they couldn't make a proper relic guitar. But this one, my god, when it's in your hands, when you see it in person, it feels great. I'm lucky enough to have this, the vintage, and the regular version, the Custom Shop neck through body, and I can tell you that this feels way much better. The worn finish on the neck and the body just feel amazing in the hands. Honestly, I didn't think that it would be such a huge difference between this guitar and the regular version, but it is. Maybe 10 years ago I wouldn't have appreciated it that much, but now, since I'm into relic guitars, the Murphy Lap Gibsons and so on, I like it a lot. And I'm honestly surprised that the Kisu Custom Shop, knowing that there are few guys working there, managed to produce this guitar ever since it was first introduced in 2001. It just seems like a lot of work, and to be able to produce a consistent product. And here's the thing, not all of the KH-2 vintages are the same. They vary from guitar to guitar. I've talked to a couple of guys in the Facebook group Guitars of Kirk Hammett. A lot of them have the KH-2 vintage. They've showed me some pictures, and some guitars have different details than the others. All of them are great, but all of them are a bit different. But one thing is certain, if you're a fan of Kirk Hammett, this is the guitar to have. You just cannot pass on this one. The neck feels amazing, the body feels amazing, it just plays like butter. This is hands down the best lead guitar that I have ever tried. Again, I'm a huge fan of James Hetfield. I play rhythm guitars, but I'm seriously considering getting one for myself. With that in mind, let's check out the origins of the KH-2 and how did it run throughout the years. As I said, James Hetfield is more my thing, so I'm gonna quote the guitar collector on this one, the information of the first appearance of the Caution Hot guitar. According to his website, it was a 1991 ESP MM290 with the same spec as today, neck true body, maple neck, double colorway older body and the EMG 8160. Supposedly he applied the stickers in 1994 and he was using the guitar extensively throughout the 90s. The story of the big orange sticker goes like this. Kirk supposedly banged the top of his guitar pretty bad and he covered the damage with this sticker. I'm not sure if he knew that this will become such an iconic addition to the guitar. In 2001, ESP introduced a custom shop replica of this guitar. You can spot the original by the lack of information on the back of the headstock. Also, the truss rod cover was different and later on it was absent from the guitar. Here's the footage of Kirk using this guitar in '99. That original guitar took a lot of beating and in 2001 it was time to replace it. The custom shop has produced some guitars for him personally and a limited run of 100 guitars for the public. Here is the official ESP brochure from 2001 and the first run of the KH-2 relic. Some other cool stuff like, oh my god, a Chino Moreno signature. Interesting. The old ones, I gotta check some of these guitars out. Probably hard to find now, but I'm gonna seek them out eventually. What else do we have here? Some more cool stuff, but let's go straight to the KH-2 on page 16. Always fun to browse these old catalogs. Here it is, the KH-2 Vintage alongside some other guitars like the regular version and these. Down here we have the information. The KH-2 Relic is an exact reproduction of Kirk's main stage guitar. Every detail was considered, including the wear and tear resulting from years of extensive touring. Production in 2001 will be limited to 100 instruments and each guitar will have a certificate and will be signed by Kirk Hammett. So these first 100 guitars were signed by the man himself. This makes them highly collectible and I have to find one. Ooh, look at George Lynch's guitars, these are cool. So the original guitar was used from early to late 90s and it was later on replaced by the replicas from the custom shop. But check this out, even though it was a limited run of 100 guitars, the KH-2 Vintage never really went away. This is the 2003 catalog and it's available there. Here it is again in 2006 catalog, again in 2007's catalog, and in 2009 ESP did something similar for James Hetfield with the Iron Cross, a limited run of 100 guitars. To be honest, I never really liked this one and it's hella overpriced these days, if you can find one. I like the relic of the KH much better, and here it is in 2009 again. 2010's catalog still features it, and all the way to 2017 where it is here again. So it never really went away, it's just a limited run guitar. Fast forward to 2025, and if we go into the official ESP website, Here, under Products, Electric Guitars, Signature Series, we find Kirk Hammet's current lineup of guitars. What do we got here? The White Zombie is such a cool guitar. I'm gonna show you this one in one of my next videos. It's an older version from 2011 without the bone breakers, but it still has the same graphics. I've tried a KH-602, it's pretty good for the money. I haven't tried the most affordable version, the 202, I gotta find one. The KH-2 Vintage available in 2025, the KH-602 Purple Sparkle, a lot of cool stuff, the Flying V's. Here's the regular version, the neck true body. I'm gonna show you one of these next, but with different hardware because it's an older version from 2011 again. But still, you're gonna love the video, I'm sure. I've already reviewed the Demonology. He has a lot of cool guitars currently. I gotta get more of them to review. On the second page, we have the Flying V's in various colors and the left-handed guitars. So here's the official listing for the Vintage Distressed Black currently. Seriously, the pictures don't do this guitar justice, you have to check it out in person. Perhaps no other guitar is as closely associated with Metallica's massively influential lead guitarist Kirk Hammett, that's what I said. Here are the official specs. We have a neck true body construction, 25.5-inch scale length, older body, a 12-inch radius, the distressed finish, extra TNU, neck profile, 24 extra jumbo frets, EMG 68, EMG 81 pickups, the control scheme for the pickups. Here it is, finally on my table. I will take care of it first. The frets look fine, but the fingerboard could definitely benefit from some oil. Here's what the KH-2 looks like without the pickups. As expected, not much to see in here. Some shielding paint, the ground wire and the quick connect system for the pickups. Don't forget, the pins should be facing down when you put the pickups back in. Same for the bridge pickup cavity, the ground wire and the quick connect. I was having a bit of a hard time determining the age of this guitar. It was bought in 2023, but was it made then? I know with absolute certainty that these are the stock pickups, and this confused me even more because the EMG 68 was made in 2021. Which can be misleading because when you look at the other pickup, the EMG 81, check it out. This one was made in 2023. March of 2023 to be exact. So the guitar was probably finished in early 2023 and the pickups were installed in March. The EMG 60A is just older than the 81. The pickups feature black flat pickup rings and short screws for both of them. Here's what I meant by the pins facing down when connecting to the pickups. To give you an idea about the distressing, here is the owner's other guitar. It is a custom shop neck true body made in 2011 and it has been used heavily on stage. Still nowhere near banged up. There are other differences as well. I'm gonna concentrate on them in the review of this particular guitar. For now I'm just gonna do the Vintage Distressed. As I said, the owner plays the hell out of this guitar and it's nowhere near as banged up as Kirk's Vintage. The specs for it are the same as the neck true body custom. It has an older wings, a neck true body construction with a 3-piece maple neck. If I move the camera around, you can see the truth lines. You see? Here's where the wings connect to the neck. So the neck goes through here. And yeah, you see the other line between the pickups? Here it is. It is harder to see on the other guitar, but this one we can see the construction. It has a slope for the forearm, making it extra comfortable, and it's worn here where the forearm meets the body. And at first I thought, why are these pick attacks so heavy up here? And then I saw that live video of Kirk abusing the guitar on stage. The relicing gets heavier here around the sticker. Supposedly Kirk put it over a huge ding on the top. I'm not sure that the custom shop recreated the hit under the sticker as well. I cannot feel it, but I'm not the one that's gonna peel off the sticker to find out. Speaking of stickers, here's Kirk's label, and it is a sticker. It can be peeled off even though it's dried on the top of the guitar. Be careful when cleaning this guitar not to catch the edges of the stickers and peel it further. Although it's a sticker, so you shouldn't be worried too much. But if you want to preserve it as is, just be careful when cleaning it. I'm curious about these perfect circles around the knobs though. Are these some sort of tool marks from replacing the pots or something like that? You know, some sort of wrench for the nuts? I'm not sure how these got there. Here's some cool info. These are photos of a friend of mine's guitar. This is again a 2023 KH-2 Vintage, and you can see that it's slightly different than the one I'm reviewing. This means that every guitar is gonna be slightly different than the others. You don't see the circles around the pots, for example, on this one. I'm not surprised though, ESP are not specialized in aging guitars. Thanks for the photos, Marcin. You got a cool guitar there. The controls are a 3-way pickup selector. Then we have the neck volume, the bridge volume, and a master tone. The EMG 81 reads 21.9k ohms. Here's the volume pot for it. Switching over to the 60A in the neck position, 21.522. I always use this neat 9-volt battery trick when restringing Floyd Rose. This is an original Floyd Rose. It has the screw-on handle like this. It's supposed to be historically accurate, you know, it's a guitar from the 90s. There are better solutions these days. Without going into much detail, I'm gonna tell you that I prefer the neck and the fingerboard on the Vintage. It feels slightly different than the regular NT. We have yellow side dots. They were probably aged as well. 24 extra jumbo, massive, nice feeling frets. They're really well chosen for lead guitar playing. We have the skull and bone inlays and a really dark rosewood fingerboard. Now that it's oiled, it's even darker. A nice and thin feeling neck, locking nut for the Floyd Rose, and here are the blocks for it. The string retainer that presses down on the strings and a blank truss rod cover. ESP cool block leathers and Kirk Hammet's full name on here instead of the KH initials. The headstock is distressed as well. A pointy guitar is usually dinged around the front here. And black Goto tuners. This is a nice and comfortable thin neck, 42.2mm or 1.66 inch at the first fret. The 5th fret is at 47mm or 1.85 inch. The 12th fret is at 52.2 or 2.05 inches. Thickness at the first fret, a nice and thin 19.5 or 0.76 inch. Thickness at the 5th fret, 20.3. This is a slim taper neck, so it stays thin throughout. And the 12th fret is a thin 21mm or 0.82 inch. It is an extra thin neck profile. Indeed, extra thin U. It's flatter around the 12th fret. A lot of people prefer it like that and gets more rounded off near the volute here on the 1st fret. Feels extremely comfortable, and this worn finish makes it feel even better. In my opinion, better than the one on the NT. Pickup ring spacing of 40.6mm or 1.59 inch. A little thinner than a Les Paul, under 2 inches, but really comfortable because of the cutaways that it has. Now this was a surprise, a 12-inch radius, but Kirk uses a lot of Flying V's and Les Pauls by Gibson, so it's normal to have the Les Paul radius instead of 14 inches. I think the LTD versions though, they have the 14-inch radius. At least that's my logic. Usually Super Strats have 14 or 16-inch radius, but since Kirk was using Flying V's and Les Pauls by Gibson, he's used to the 12-inch radius and he prefers it. Makes sense, he's using Greenie all the time and that has the 12-inch radius. Here's the blank truss rod cover, still has a protective film. I'm gonna remove it, and what surprised me is that the truss rod is two-way. I was expecting it to only straighten the neck. No, it works in both ways, which is a neat feature. And here it is, the truss rod cover, and this is supposed to be different than the original guitar. I'm gonna experiment with this guitar a bit. I'm gonna try to swap the original 942 gauge strings with 1046, so I'm gonna have to adjust the truss rod, the height of the strings, so on, and I'll see how it feels with 1046 and probably revert to 42 later. Here's what the back of the guitar looks like with all the covers in place. Now I'm gonna remove them and show it to you. Here's what makes the KH-2 tick. The back of the Floyd Rose original mechanism, the 3 springs and the wood screws that adjust the spring tension. And these springs, I've never seen springs like this. The regular ones are chrome, these are like brass. And I like how ESP provides you the option, if you want to be installing passive pickups, you can run the ground wire from the pickups to the block back here. What I don't like is the cover for the springs because it doesn't have the holes and I cannot adjust the spring tension with it on. I know it's supposed to be historically correct and looking like the original and all. And these are the EMG pickups and the control module for them, the pots in the back and the three-way switch. Don't be surprised if you see the solder-on electronics back here for 2011 and older models. This is the cover for the electronics, shielding on the back side of it, and looks neat. Also, this 9-volt battery compartment is convenient, and it's a new addition, started appearing for models later than 2011. Prior to it, the 9-volt battery used to sit in the electronics compartment. The back of the guitar is flat and has a huge belly colorway up here that is also distressed. A lot of chips and dings on the back as well, rounded off edges, and a lot of distressing down here. And the cool thing about it, it allows us to see the neck through body construction. You see the maple portion of the body? Let me try and show it to you. You see the lines when I move the camera? One is down here, and you can see where the maple starts and the older ends. And here's the other line here. That's the neck through body construction. You have 3-piece maple neck and the older wings. Here it is, on this part of the back. I've tried to trace these lines on the other guitar, but due to the thicker finish, you're not able to see it, and there's no distressing back there. But here you can clearly see the construction of the guitar. 3-piece maple neck that goes through the entire length of the body. Here's a top-down look of the distressing for the back, and I'm gonna move it around a bit so you can see better. Hopefully the camera can see what my eyes are seeing. It's usually hard to demonstrate distressing, that's why I try to shine a white light on it. It shows the deepness of the dings. The back of the neck has poly finish on it, but it's thinner and it's aged. Has a volute near the headstock. We got ESP Signature series here, the Goto tuners, and the serial number is what threw me off, 73, I'm assuming 2023. The case is my only complaint with these signature guitars. It's a bit too plain and it's used even on the LTD models. ESP claims that it's a premium case, but I think they can do better for guitars like this one. Here's the compartment for accessories like on the regular guitar. We have the truss rod, wrench, some Allen keys, and the locking keys for the case. Most ESP guitars come with this ESP branded fret protector. Now let's see the differences in the certificates. Here's the new certificate for the 2023 model, the Vintage, comes in this black folder, and the 2012 model, and most of the ones that I've seen, used to come with this big A4 landscape oriented certificate. I think I prefer the new one in the folder. It's much smaller and neat looking. We have the model, we have certificate of authenticity, custom shop, ESP, the signature of the production manager, but we no longer have the date, I think. Yeah, here we have the date, here we don't. I'm not sure why ESP did this. In case you're wondering, this is how the certificate attaches to the folder. What I do like about the KH-2 cases is that they're not so big. This is an ESP Flying V case, for example. It's huge compared to it. Side of the case has the model and the serial number. Weighing a little under 8 pounds, the Vintage is not heavy at all, 3,605 grams. And just to give you an idea of the difference between the two guitars, this one is a bit heavier due to having more lacquered finish. It's time to hear the KH-2 Vintage. Okay, we gotta talk about the elephant in the room. This is not a cheap guitar. It's not even affordable. That is, of course, if you're comparing it to other guitars like the affordable LTD versions, etc, etc. But as a collector's item, as a player's guitar even, it is worth every dollar or euro depending on which side of the ocean you are. The good thing about it, it's available. You can still buy it brand new. You can even find some good deals on a second-hand market. A friend of mine is selling one in France. And honestly, I'm regretting not getting his guitar because this one is amazing. The KH-2 Vintage is easily my favorite lead guitar. It is just that good. It feels and plays so much better than the bolt-on guitar that they're not even the same guitar. Compared to the regular version, the NT, I would say you're good with both, but this feels way much better. Here's what you gotta know if you want a KH2. If you don't care about the distressing, get the regular version, you're gonna save some money. If you want the best sounding and playing instrument with the most sustain, always go for the neck-through body construction. The bolt-ons are okay, but this is so much better. It was a massive pleasure showing you this guitar.